Hey there, everybody. I am Debbie Crowley from ExpressivelyDeb.com, and welcome. Okay, it's November, and I have the monthly video for my November customer card kit. This month, I featured the Reindeer Days bundle. I'm sorry, I think this is the reindeer. Yes, it is the Reindeer Fun bundle and the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper. So, in this month's customer card kit, I did a little fancy layering, so my customers will have fun with that. Okay, I think we should probably get started. Those of you that watch each month know the drill. You will get everything you need to make these two cards in the customer card kit as I have designed them. The designs are generic, so you can use a lot of your own supplies, fill in the blanks here and there. And if you look at the front of the card, look at it as a card sketch or template, as some are calling it, and fit in your own pieces and parts and just have fun with it. But they're both nice little designs, and as I say, a little bit fancy layer cutting this month. So I hope you enjoy. We're going to get started. We've got some strips and layers and embellishments. And this one has no dimensionals. I did put an extra piece. There's the envelope in here with the designer series paper so that you can decorate the back of the envelope flap if you want to. So this is the card front, the card base with the card front embossed layer that's going to go on the card. And this is the diagonal cut layer that will go on the card. But I'll show you an easy way to cut it and an easy way to get it onto the front of the card using the cardstock, the real red cardstock card strip. It's fun and it's easy, but I thought I would show you how to cut this layer. I have my paper trimmer here. This layer is 4 1/4 inches across, 5 1/2 inches down, and that's the right way. So how I did this, if you don't already know, was I cut my paper on the diagonal. So what I'm doing, I turn the paper so that it's not straight up and down. It is on the diagonal, okay? And I'm matching up the corners. This corner, which would be the top left corner of the card layer, and the bottom right corner of the card layer. I'm making sure that each of those corners is right in the cutting track of my paper trimmer. And I'm going to use the cutting blade and just give it a slice. So that now we have two triangles, diagonal cuts of that layer. They're both exactly the same size. So you see that. And that layer is right here. Okay, so what we're going to do first is attach you have a cardstock strip. Before we go ahead and put the embossed layer onto the card base, we're going to attach the cardstock strip to the back part of this diagonal cut layer. And I just want to get my silicone mat to do this. Okay, and what we're going to do is, I have my fine tip, and let's see if I could there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the back of this holly leaf layer, okay, which you all have in your card kit. And if you didn't get the card kit, whatever layer you choose, and we're going to just put a fine line of glue along the back side of this long edge, the slanted edge of the paper. And I've got to get my glasses on here. I'm actually doing it without my glasses. Okay, and then we're going to take the card strip and just put it onto a cardstock strip, the real red cardstock strip. I cut it longer for you, so you do have it longer in your card kit. And we're going to flip it over. I use the glue flip it over and bring it out. So I don't know, maybe there's about 1/8 of an inch of the red showing on the right side of the layer. Can you see that? And that is attached. So we're not going to trim it yet. We are going to trim it. But I thought it would be easier to attach this layer to the embossed layer that you have, because it fits right on the front of the, of the embossed layer, like that. So it'll fit like that, and then we're going to trim it. So let's do that now. So we're going to attach this layer just with some liquid glue. Oh, I put a lot of liquid glue. Did you see that? On that side. So what I'm going to do, when I do that, I just kind of give it a wipe with my silicone mat. That was a lot there. So, okay. And now what we're going to do is take this layer and just match the corner right here. If you can see what I'm doing. Matching the corner. Making sure it's straight across the bottom. And it should fall in on the side. If you need to give it a little bit of a... No, it does. So that's it. Make sure that's down. Okay. And then, now we're ready to trim. Okay, so we're going to trim from the back. This may be a backwards way of doing it for you, but I found it's easy to do it this way. Easier than putting the embossed layer onto the card front and then attaching the pattern paper to it. So now we're going to trim this edge from the back. Nice and easy. Make your corner, get that little bit off of there. And that's it. It's trimmed nicely. Let me see. I have a little more on this side. Okay. Get a nice close trim. And the card front is ready to go on to the card base. So I'm going to be a little generous with the glue. And this is a new glue that I just opened, so it is coming out. And we're going to get this right onto the card front. And that is it, okay? So that is the card front. Now I have the little holly leaf cluster, which is one of the die cuts from the... that are in the Reindeer Fun dies. And I'm just looking for the sample. Just want to make sure that I'm consistent. So we have a sentiment strip, or we should have a sentiment strip in here. And the sentiment that I used is actually from the Sentimental Christmas bundle, but you can use a stamp set, I'm sorry, but you can use any one that you want. And I set the stamp set on the block. I'm sorry, the stamp. It says, have yourself a merry little Christmas. Oh, have a very merry Christmas. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Because this layer, I don't know if you were with me last month, but I talked about tucking. We tuck the sentiment layer under the embellishment. So in last month's card, and we're going to do the same thing in this month's card. And we're going to get it. I just want to pull it a little bit closer to me so that I get this lined up. And I'm going probably in about the center. If you're going to use this stamp, right about the center, maybe slightly over, but it's centered pretty much. And you have all of the dimensions. So I'll go through them quickly with you. The card base is, I should have done this in the beginning. I kind of went backwards on this. The card base is 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and it's scored at 5 1/2. And then the embossed layer, I cut it first and then embossed it. I didn't want anything to crush it. It is beautiful. The texture on this, I don't know if you can see it, but this plaid is just beautiful. It's beautifully embossed. The layer is 4 1/4 across, 5 1/2 down. The holly pattern paper layer was 4 1/4 across, 5 1/2 inches down in length, and of course I cut it diagonally as you saw. The real red cardstock strip is 1/4 inch wide, and I made it 6 inches long. You can make it, I would say minimum 6 inches. You can go maybe 5 3/4, but I would go 6 inches with it just to be safe because it is on the diagonal. And you want to be sure that it goes up the whole length of the diagonal cut. Okay, so we're going to get the holly leaf on. And again, you can do this. I'm just putting some glue on it. And I'm putting it about 3/4 of the way down. Maybe here. Ooh. Okay. And then the sentiment layer is going to tuck right underneath. We don't want to get it into the slit of the holly. There we go. We'll lift that just a little bit. And then the sentiment layer will get tucked right under there. Okay. So I'm going to put a little glue. Everything is glue on this one. And we'll tuck this right under. Just make sure it's straight. Okay. And then we have the holly berries that are also die cut from the Reindeer Fun bundle. Dies, I should say. Okay, and we'll put a little bit of glue on that. Just a dot right in the center of the berry trio here. And we'll get that in the center of the holly. Oh. And now we can put our little... Okay, these are some of the festive pearls that we had, Stampin' Up! Had a while back. At that time when they're actually, they're retired now, but they went onto the clearance rack. You should always check that clearance rack because they always put some fun stuff up there. And I bought a bunch of them. I just love them. So I'm using the cherry cobbler. Actually, they call it the cherry cobbler, but it looks good with the red, the real red. It's festive. It's red. And then there were 3 there, and I thought it needed just a little bit of a something, so I put 1 here on the sentiment. I kept it an odd number, so you have 5 in the kit. And then I put 1 under here. I thought that just finished it off nicely. So there's your card front. That's all finished. And then, of course, we have our strip. I know you all know how to do this. You can put whatever sentiment you want on the inside. And the strip, just put a little line, very thin line of glue across the bottom. It's 1/4 inch wide. I always make it longer. It's probably about 6 inches because I cut my paper 6 inches most of the time, down to 6 inches because I just find it easier that way. Okay, so that's that. And trim this from the back, and I know you know how to do this. Not having some luck trimming from the back today. There we go. Okay, so that's the inside. You can put your sentiment, whatever sentiment you want on the inside. And by the way, you do get 2 little sentiment strips in your little pouch. That's included in the kit. And just in case you need it. And that's it. This card is finished. And what do I have on it? Oh, okay, there we go. I didn't get this one off. Oh, okay. Well, that was interesting. Okay, here we go. So this card is finished. Nice and easy and simple, and a little bit of a fancy cut layer. So you'll have that design. This was the original, and of course this is the card we did today. Okay, now on to card number 2. This card is really fun. This is a little bit more detailed than the first one, but it's a fun card to put together. So let's get going with this. And we have all of the pieces and parts here in the kit. Now this pattern paper is Stampin' Up. It is retired. It did not come in the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper pack, but it matched beautifully. I wanted a subtle design for the inside of the circle, so it really did the trick for me when I was designing this card, and I had enough of it, so I used this. I don't even remember now what paper pack it was from. So, okay, the card base on this one is same thing. It's 4 1/4 across, 11 inches in length, scored at 5 1/2, and then the card front layer is 4 1/4 inches across, 5 1/2 inches down, and we're going to get that onto the card front. Remember this? This is the back side of the paper. I remember this. But I have such a paper accumulation of paper. I thought I would use it, and this was perfect for the design, how I wanted the design to look. Okay, so this a garden green polka dot layer goes right on the card front, as you can see. Okay, and then this layer is from the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper pack. And this one, I took a circle, one of my circles. This is one of my older layering circles dies. And I put it on the bottom right corner of the layer. This layer measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So I put the die on the corner of the bottom right corner of the layer. Now you can see how I overlapped, okay? What I did was I kind of felt where the edge, this little ridge of the die, where it would come up, and I said, okay, that's a good spot, because it takes off. I wanted it to take off part of the right side of the bottom corner and the bottom of the bottom corner. So I basically wanted this circle to take off the bottom corner of this card layer, okay, this Designer Series paper layer. So that's how I placed the circle in order to get this to look this way. So it's kind of it's an open circle. Can you see that? So the die actually took the circle right out of took the corner right out of the circle. Okay, the way I placed the die. So we're going to get that onto the garden green cardstock layer. Designer Series paper layer, which is on the card base. And this layer is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So we're going to center it onto the card front. So you're going to have that little space around the side of it. Okay. So that's how your card front will look. Now in this pack, in your card kit, you have the reindeer, this adorable little reindeer. This is die cut directly from the one of the sheets in the Reindeer Days Designer Series paper, and there's a die that matches it perfectly that's in the Reindeer Fun dies. So, but our little reindeer friend is attached with dimensionals, and I had him where he was kind of angled like he's flying upward. Okay, he's cute, isn't he? I am going to use, for the sentiment on this one, I'm going to use one of the sentiments, another one of the sentiments from the Sentimental Wishes stamp set, and it's wishing you joy and happiness. And I'm just going to stamp that. So just quickly, I'm fussy cutting the sentiment. It's going to thin it out a little bit. Basically the same thing. So we're going to set up the sentiment layer this way. The first thing we're going to do is take our card, and you have a glimmer paper. We used to call this the glimmer paper, so it's real red, and it's about 1/4 inch wide. It's 4 inches across, and we're going to attach this to, I would say, about 1 inch up from the bottom of the card base, and just attach it with glue. And this is going to be the base of the, let me just get my glue going here. This is going to be the base for the sentiment layer, because I have a couple of different layers on the sentiments. And we did something like this last month. So we're going to match it up to the side, and maybe about 1 inch from the bottom. And it will match up to the left side of the red and white, the real red and white bell pattern paper, and then just let it fall right across, and it'll match up evenly because it's 4 inches. So it'll give the illusion of the 4-inch layer coming down this way. Okay, coming down the right side. Okay, so there's the sentiment, the strip. Then you have another strip in your card kit, which is 1/2 inch wide by 3.5 inches in length. And what I did was I flagged the edge of this. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, this is from the Iconic Celebrations. This paper is from the Iconic Celebrations pattern paper, DSP. This was part of the online exclusives, and I believe it's still available in the online exclusives. And this was I think it's pecan pie and the white plaid. So what I did was I took, let me see if I have the sample in the paper pack to show you. Oh, I have a little bit of a piece left over. So I don't know if you can see this, but what I did was I took, see I have a little ink blotch there, but I took my cherry cobbler Stampin' Blend and a straight edge, my ruler, and I just made some lines with the bullet tip, or you can use your cherry cobbler Stampin' Right marker as well. The lines will be a little thinner than this if you use the marker. I used the blend on this, and I just went along the plaid pattern just to add some color. So I added cherry cobbler onto this. So it kind of picked up the cherry cobbler in the, it gave it a little more of that red color, to be honest with you. Okay, so this is going to set onto we're going to flag this, first of all. I got off on a tangent there, I apologize. So we're going to add this layer. We're going to put about 1/4 inch down. Maybe I would say it's a little more than 1/8 inch down from the top of the plaid paper to the top of the glimmer paper. Now you see on the sample that you're going to get, this is a little bit of a thinner line up here, but that's because the sentiment is going to go on top of that. So you'll see that in a minute. But I want to leave a little more space. And what I'm going to do is attach this with half dimensionals across the bottom of this. So you have them in your card kit. I gave you a little strip where you'll have the half dimensional. You'll be able to cut your half dimensionals. Okay, so now this is going to, you see the dimensionals are on the bottom part of this little sentiment strip. So what we're going to do is just, I'm going to say leave about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little more. And it looks as though there's about 1/4 of an inch from the designer series paper layer to the bottom of this little sentiment strip, so you could see the placement of it. And that is the sentiment. And then what we're going to do is put this little guy, now he is, because we put the dimensionals only on the bottom, if you feel it, this area is flat. So you can glue this very easily onto the center of the sentiment. It's a little bit of a different look. There we go. And then, look what I got. I was able to get my hands on 2 packages of these little peppermint, I guess you would call them peppermint rounds. They're so cute. Peppermint dots. So you have them in your card kit, okay? Now, I was a little generous with them here. They come in 3 sizes in the package, and they are part of the suite, of this suite. So I put large, medium, and small. So you have 1 of each in your packet. So here's the large, and then we have a medium. Now, I could place these a little differently because I put a different sentiment on here, and I'm going to place it differently. But you see what happens? And I want you to feel free to do that too. Use whatever. You don't have to follow what I do exactly. If it makes you more comfortable to do that, by all means do it. But you don't have to do it. As you're going, you'll see things that, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do it that way, and do it. That's what makes it so wonderful, is that it's unique. So I didn't want to put, because we have a kind of a different sentiment here. You see the difference? So I didn't want to put the little dot down at the bottom because you get lost down there. So I put a little more up here. Now, even with this sentiment, you can add another one. If you raise this one a little higher, you can add your smaller one. You have it in the kit. You can add your smaller little peppermint dot a little closer to the sentiment if you want, up top rather than bring it down at the bottom. But that's it. The card is finished. And I think this is just adorable. I like both sentiments, actually. On it, either way, it looks nice. You have the layers to do either one. Wish you the best, and always remember to express your creativity, and the only limitation is your imagination. Have a great rest of day.